Welcome back, ladies and gents, to, in my humble opinion, the very best YouTube channel on YouTube. Do you agree?
I would agree.
I would agree. If you haven't seen last week's video, I suggest you go and have a good look at it, because we took the car for a little test drive. Everything was, went really well until it all went really wrong. And we...
Wasn't that wrong?
No, it wasn't that wrong. We just lost one of the front brake calipers, fell off completely and jammed itself in the wheel. So if you haven't seen that, I would suggest once you finish watching this one, go and watch that. Quite entertaining. Also, lots of turbo noises. Everyone likes turbo noises. So yeah, this video is going to be a little bit less well, I hope. I hope this video is going to be a little bit less uneventful. What we're going to start off with is, obviously, you guys have seen the bonnet. Obviously, it was previously cut out. I can't remember if I did any footage of me messing around with it. If I did, I'll insert it out. If not, well, it's not there. But I cut the bonnet back out to look at cutting this and welding some bits in and making it all one nice bonnet again. And I decided that by the time I've welded it and filleted it and this and that, and it was just never going to be right anyway. So I had a little look on the old interwebs, and I came across this absolute beauty, which is, it's already red. What are the chances of that? It's already red. It was up in, I was going to say it's already red, it was up in Reading. It wasn't actually, it was a little bit further north than Reading, but went and picked it up. 70 quid I paid for it, which is, for the quality it's in. Yeah, real happy with that. Champion, spot on. So, job number one for this evening is going to be to take that one off, put this one on. And then I also need to, job number two is going to be to sort out the headlights, because they're a bit loose and I can't actually adjust the beam patterns on them at the moment. So that's going to be job number two. But for now, pop you over there on a time lapse. Old bonnet off, new old bonnet on. Right, let's do it. Let's crack on. Dean's having a drink of Lucozade, and just like that, he's having Lucozade, and as usual I've got a beer. Anyway, just like that, it is on. It's actually not just like that. We had to drill out a couple of the holes to get it to line up properly. It still doesn't quite line up properly, etc. The other thing I did notice as soon as I kind of got it in the daylight is it's not an original Ford panel. It is a patterned part. I don't know the... See if I can get it open now. I don't know of the... I've never seen the make. Have you ever heard of the make? Ariuf? Don't know. Whatever that make there is that make. But also, it is important to note that when we put the front of this car back together, again, if you haven't seen those videos, worth going to have a look after you watch this one. We probably... Well, we did.
Bonnet, essentially.
No, we used that bonnet when we did it, but I think something must have moved, or basically the wings are too close together at the front. They're fine at the back, but at the front they're too close together at the top, at the front. So to be honest, not that worried about it. A bit more jiggling around with it, and all I've got to do really is just attack this with a flat wheel to make the line sort of match and bits and pieces. It's not the end of the world. But, there it is. Bonnet is on. Hasn't got a great big hole for an exhaust and everything else in it. I'm going to keep that bonnet and at some point strip the entire thing, take all the filler off of it and do something with it fancy, so that, if I do want a bonnet exhaust or whatever again at some point, I can just swap these two over. But for now, that's kind of on. I've just got to put the bracket for the bonnet catch back on. I'm looking at it at the moment. I kind of like it how it is without the bonnet catches in.
I like subtle.
Subtle, yeah. It just means that I will have to. Just means that I'll have to find a centre catch. It also means that I actually haven't got anything to pull the centre catch with anymore. That cable's long gone, and the bracket. I know it is. So.
A bit of white cable and a bit of alley bar.
Something like that. Sort something out. But yeah, for now I'm fairly happy with that. It's a job ticked off the list. I can go for an MOT like that. You know, it doesn't look the prettiest, it needs adjusting, but it can go for an MOT like that and it'll pass. And that is kind of the whole grand plan at the moment, is to get it for an MOT by the end of next month. We're now January. By the end of February, the plan is to sorry, right, you have to give me 2 seconds and we have to divulge, because I've got this on my finger because I cut my finger. I used the cable tie and I actually can't feel the end of my finger. Probably pulled it a little bit too tight, so let me just oh, that's better. Right, where were we? Yeah, so that is the plan. The plan is to have this ready for MOT, because we have, as I aforementioned in Dean's Escort update video, we are taking this to Fiesta 123. That's happening. I've committed. It's happening. In fact, I'm so committed, Mr. AD Bright himself, who actually has now started his own YouTube channel. So, you know, shout out to AD. Go and follow AD's Bright Side of Life. It's not just a car dedicated YouTube channel. There's all sorts of things on there. Bike riding and BMXing and all sorts of things that can end up in you getting hurt and, you know, entertainment. He has sent me some stickers. So, you know, whilst we're there. Horsepower at Herbie's, you see that? Put them on the car in a minute. But yeah, so we are fully committed to making this happen and getting the Fiesta to Cambridge, which is quite a trek for us actually.
Yeah.
It's on
in one way, shape or form.
It's Easter Friday in one way, shape or form. Might end up just putting it on the back of a trailer and paying Dean some diesel money to tow me up there. But it would be nice if I could drive this up there. It would be a good test. Cambridge is what, 2.5 hours, 3 hour drive for us.
Well, it should be about 2.5.
About 2. It should be 2.5. Depends how many times we have to stop to break down on the way there. But it would be a good test of the car on how well it's built. Obviously not very at the moment because the brake calipers fall off when you use them. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm waffling now. I'm waffling. So right, let's stop waffling. Let's move on to the next thing, which is headlights. So my plan is, at the moment, the headlights are just kind of mounted with these self-tapper screws through here, and they're not very good. So my plan is to, where we can, drill these out and put some little, I'm sure behind the baby gate that's appeared in here, I have got some very small I think they're M4 or M5 riv nuts somewhere. Anyway, the plan is to drill those out, put some riv nuts in the front panel, and then I've got a box of machine screws somewhere, one of these ones. That one there. So I've got a box of these little machine screws, and the idea is to use those to hold it in, and then I should be able to adjust the beam patterns and everything, vice versa. So left or right?
Left.
Dean wants the left.
I'm left-handed, so.
Oh, he's left-handed. So yeah. What I was actually asking is which one hangs lower, but you know. Right, Dean's gonna get the left light. I'm gonna get the right light, and I'll catch you guys once we've done a bit of drilling and screwing and everything else.
A few moments later.
Right, okay. So, as you can see, what we've got here is little riv nut, little riv nut, little riv nut. And that obviously lines up with the mounting holes in the back of this headlight here. So, it's just a case of I need to put that back in. Yeah, do you want to hold that for us? He's on cameraman duties. Right, so that's got to go back in there. Get it back in there. Yeah, okay, so that goes in there, that goes in there. Now I've just got these little machine screws with with a washer and a spring washer on, which will go in there. Screwdriver. Probably a bit long, these. They'll probably stick out the other side of the car like 30mm. But that is it. And then obviously they're a lot more solid mounted in the car there, which then means we should be able to adjust the headlights, pass an MOT correctly. So, how are you getting on with your side then?
I'm on the camera, aren't I?
Oh, hang on. Go. That's that. front one. I'll get that one on there. This one's a little bit of a funny angle. Feels like it might be cutting its own thread in the riv nut, this one.
More moments later.
Okay, so picking up where we just left off then, it is obviously now another day. Actually, the kids have just gone to a birthday party for 2 hours, so I thought whilst they were out of the hair, I'd come and do a couple of hours on the car before I go pick them up. Anyway, right, so the other night, obviously, we were doing these lights, got them all in, got them all bolted up. As you can see, they're all now ready to go. The only problem is with this one, the adjuster screw that goes in there, I'm not sure where it's gone. If you look at this one, obviously, that you can see there's a screw there, and that's the screw that you use to adjust the headlight tilt. This one's fallen out at some point, and I don't know where it's gone. And it's not just a standard screw, unfortunately. Well, the screw is a standard screw, but there's a little rubber piece that goes on the end of it that clips into the light. So yeah, I'm gonna at some point tidy this wonderfully clean bench up. As always, you know, I like to keep things clean down here. Yeah, so I'm gonna tidy all that up and hopefully come across that at some point. But for now, the headlights are mounted nice and securely, and I'm relatively happy with how they sit, how they look, etc. What I'm going to do today, right now, is the other night, our friends at Car Builder Solutions sorted out one of these little boxes for us. Shout out to Zach, Zoo Speed Zach. Obviously, that's not actually his real name, but I don't know what his surname is. So, actually, he's done gauges for his Escort, and he's used one of these, and I saw it on his Instagram post. What that is it's a little box that converts the voltage from the sender and sends the correct, not the voltage, sorry, the resistance, the ohms from the sender, and sends the correct ohms to the gauge. So obviously I've got a Vauxhall Dash with a Ford sender in the back, so it will take the correct readings from the Ford sender, convert them and send them to the correct readings to the dash, so the dash reads right. Because at the moment, when it's completely full, it reads completely empty, and then it reads correctly for a little bit in the middle, and then when it's completely empty, it reads completely empty, but it reads completely empty from about half a tank down. So basically it doesn't read properly, so it's not a very reliable fuel gauge. At the moment, what I have been doing is just relying on the sound of the lift pump, because when the fuel level starts to get low, the lift pump starts to get noisier, where it's struggling to draw the fuel up. So probably not very good for the fuel pump, for the lift pump to be doing that all the time. So crucial little piece of the puzzle here to get this done. So what I'm going to do is go through this. It's quite a complicated set of instructions. I did read them the other day briefly, but let me just go through. Here they are. There's like different bits that you need to press, and A, B, C, and press it for different seconds, and different this and different that, and yeah. So I'm going to have a quick read of the instructions. I'm going to pull the front of the dash out there so I can get to where the cables go to the back of the gauges. Get this soldered up. The actual wiring of it is really simple to do. It's just 4 wires essentially. The ground, gauge, sender, and 12 volt. That's all it needs. You don't need to worry about the lamp, kind of optional extras. I'm not worrying about any of that because my warning lamp is incorporated into the dash, and when it reads the resistance, the lamp just comes on anyway. So yeah, I'm going to get this wired up, and then we can go through the process of trying to get it set up, which is going to be a little bit more difficult. And the tank is currently like 3/4 full, so I think I'm going to take the sender out so that I can move the arm of the sender around to get obviously the relevant ohms readings and whatever else. And I did just have to go and pay £4.80 for a 9-volt battery, because when I was here last time I left my multimeter on and it ran out of battery. So yeah, pretty gutted about that actually. £4.80 for a 9-volt battery. I mean, I'm sure they used to be like £1.50, but there you go. Anyway, right, stop moaning about the cost of the batteries, and I'll crack on and catch you guys once we've got it all wired up. Right, well, it's been a couple of days, well, it's actually been a week now, since I was last messing around with this petrol gauge that you've just seen. And I messed around with it for hours and then got bored of it, so I thought I'll leave it for another day. And then when I came back down here in the middle of the last week, I realised I forgot to turn the ignition off and the battery was flat. So I put the battery on charge, came back down here tonight, and I've spent about another 45 minutes fiddling around with the thing, and now the dash is deciding to be special and is just flickering all over the place. I don't know whether it will do it now when I show you, probably not, but if I turn it on, you might be able to see in the camera what it's doing, or because I've turned it off, it'll be absolutely fine now. Yeah, look at that, it's absolutely fine now. But all of this was flickering and doing some weird, funny nonsense that... Anyway, I decided that I'm not going to mess around with that for much more longer. I'll sort that out another day when I've got nothing else to do. Because in the interim between us doing that just a minute ago, what you've just seen, and now the postman has been, and got a whole host of little things for us to be getting on with. We have got here a nut and stud conversion kit for the front wheels. So obviously we're running spacers to clear the brakes, and we have got one extended wheel bolt missing, and I needed some more wheel bolts obviously to make up for that, because I don't know where that one's gone. And then because it's kind of a faff getting the wheel on and the spacer and everything else, we just decided to go to nuts and studs. So I've got these screw-in studs with nuts. The only thing I'm hoping they're long enough, because I did order what I thought was the right size, but possibly I haven't done. We will find out. They might just about be long enough. Let's see. Questionable, but they might just about work. If not, I'll just have to order some new ones, and it's not the end of the world, because what I will do is I'll just use these ones for the back of the car, which is fine. I don't know, these might actually be alright, to be honest. I quite look at those, they look quite good in there. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Got that stuck. So what I'll do now, I'll quickly get that jacked up, have a look at that. Oh, and then when we get that side jacked up and take that wheel off, we can have a look at the smashed to pieces brake caliper. Here's the carrier, or what was left of the carrier. We can have a look at that. Shout out to Sean, because he did text me the other day and he said they're going to be in the post, mate. They'll get sent out Wednesday, so they are on the way, which is happy days basically. So right, stop rambling, because I'm rambling again now. Let's get the car up, wheel off, studs in, wheel on, nuts on, happy days. Okay, well, that is them on. They fitted all right. The threads, I don't know if the threads are maybe slightly the wrong pitch. They shouldn't be, because they're the pitch that I ordered. Going into the hub, they're a bit stiff, but they're just about long enough. But they work quite well on there, to be honest. Quite happy with how they look as well. They look quite nice. Anyway, right, let's take that side off, shall we? And then we'll have a look at the damage on the inside of the wheel on the carrier from last time. Let's have a look, shall we? So if we look at the back of the wheel first, you can see it just kind of scraped around the two edges there and chipped the paint off, which is annoying, but it is what it is. I'm not going to cry over that. There's the offending caliper. You can see with it hanging down on the bottom there. Let me just scoot in nice and close with you and we'll have a look. So you can see we tied it up with this piece of cable just to be able to roll the car back down the hill. But let's have a look. So there's that piece of caliper left on there. We've got a mark there, got a mark there, and it scored the pads a little bit on the inside, but nothing too bad. And the caliper itself, so yeah, actually the worst bit of damage is just that scored pad in there. I don't know if you can just see that score through the inside of it, which I'm not too worried about because it's a brand new pad and it's not a very deep score. So by the time I've used the pad and got the pad bedded in a bit, whoop, that will flatten out. So yeah, reasonably happy with that. It's not too bad. It's just sort of one bit there, and a couple of little scratches on the top edge here and there, but actually not that bad. So all in all, I'm quite happy with that. It did kink my little brake line there a little bit actually. Looking up there, you can see where the bracket kinked the line a bit, but again, not too bad. So I'm not going to cry over that because in the grand scheme of things, that's all right. I mean, this bottom piece of the carrier held on all right. You know, that didn't go anywhere. So there we go, and here you can see on there my blood as well, where I managed to cut my finger on the door for a third or fourth time. In fact, actually, I think I might actually do something about that tonight before I cut myself on it for a millionth time. But right, let's carry on with what we were doing and get this side whacked over for a stud conversion. Okay, nut and stud conversion done, and as you can see, we did definitely need to do it because these were 3 threads into the hub, all said and done, so they weren't quite long enough anyway. So I wouldn't have wanted to give that the beans and then strip the threads and all sorts. So, but it does also mean that means I've got, if I can find the odd one out, which is in there somewhere, it does mean that I've got some extended wheel bolts. If I want to put spacers on the rear, which I'd have to arch the rear to do anyway, but for now, that is that done. And as you've just seen, the damage to the caliper is actually not that bad. Quite happy about that. So yeah, there they are. They look quite good. Fairly happy with that. Next thing on the list is, and this is as sort that, and this is as pointed out by a few of you in the videos, when we are out driving at night and filming, the inside of the cabin is very dark and you can't really see a lot. So went and brought some LED, some 12-volt LED strip light, and the plan is I've got 4 of these, but the plan is to stick 2 of them on either side of the top of the roll cage so that they shine upwards and the light should come down. So that's what we're going to do next, and then hopefully when we go out and give it the beans, do a bit of filming at night, you'll be able to see what's going on. So yeah, I'm going to pop you up there, maybe somewhere. I'll find somewhere to pop you and then crack on with this on a time lapse, and hopefully when we flip the switch, when we get back to you, it'll all be working, it'll be beautifully bright. So yeah, there we go. Right, let's crack on with that. I'll be honest with you, I got a little bit carried away and I forgot to film. Anyway, it's a good point to catch up now because they're in and they work. They're on a little switch down here in the dash, which you can just about see. You can kind of get an idea of how much difference they make inside the cabin, which kind of works, you know, like we get an idea. It's slightly brighter in here. I've turned all the garage lights off so it's completely dark, but so when the camera's up here looking that way, it's not too bad. There's a reasonable amount of light, like you can see my face here fine, no problem at all. You can kind of see down there, but when the camera is up there or up there, which is quite a good view, I like that view up there for filming, you can't really see an awful lot because it's shadowy this side. Now my plan was obviously to keep everything behind me so that whilst I'm driving I haven't got glare in my eyes, but enough light would come over. Well, kind of isn't happening, so I'm thinking I might have to put, I've got two more of these. I did buy 4, so I think I might have to put 2 more up here, but obviously they're going to be like shining in my face, which if we were driving at night, maybe I could turn the headlights on. You'll see that's the headlights on, which actually, funny enough, now that we've done them, got them screwed in properly, they're a lot better than they actually were. But I mean, it's not a bad view, but I think it could be better. So I'm gonna have a little play around, and Dean's on his way down the workshop as usual, so when he gets down here I'll get his opinion on it as well. Obviously you guys drop your opinion in the comments. I might just put 2 up here temporarily just to see what it looks like and see how much it's reflecting on my face, that kind of business. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna mess around with that, and I'll catch up with you guys once I've scratched my head a bit, drunk a beer, had a wee, because I need a wee actually, yeah. Anyway, right, I'm gonna crack on. I'll catch you guys in a second. Okay, right, so I've got this little extra light which I've just put on a big lead so we can hang it around in a few places, and we've toyed with the idea of putting it like there, which is really good for filming, but oops, hang on, up there, which is really good for filming, but it's right in my line of vision. And we've like toyed with the idea of it up here, over there, and bearing in mind we've got 2, so wherever one goes, the other one will go symmetrically on the other side, but haven't really worked out where I want it, to be honest. So I think for the time being, I'm just going to have it in my lap like this. No, I think what we're going to do for the time being is I'm just going to take this one back out, run the 2 that I've put in. The camera doesn't really do it justice, to be honest, with the 2 that are in. For us in person, like with your eyesight, it does make a massive difference.
It's great. It
just doesn't pick up on the camera very well, but I'm going to run with those 2. We'll film a few videos, maybe out driving at night with those 2, and go from there. And then I think these 2, if I'm honest, I will probably just end up throwing in the back somewhere, and I can have them on a separate switch for car shows and shit like that, I suppose. Honest, there'll only be one more video after this, which will be the brakes, which Sean has is sending out on Wednesday, and then it will be MOT time, and then it will be live mapping time. See how long it lasts before we put a rod through the block.
And this is going to be the full brake video as well, isn't it? Finally.
It will be the full brake video, of which, yeah, we've already filmed 2/3 of about a year ago now. And we tried to keep everything secret in that video, actually, funnily enough. And you guys would have seen when I did the stud conversion a minute ago exactly what's under the wheels, because I haven't blurred it out. But yeah, okay, right. Let's turn the lights back on. I can't see.
Let's get out.
Yeah.